Utah Senator Mike Lee. I am not a fan. I will not vote for him in 2022. I'm not going to do it. I look at Mike Lee and I see a guy who doesn't stand for anything. I don't know what his platform is. Mm-hmm. And yesterday, Mike Lee melted down. And do we have the audio on that?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is Mike Lee. The impeachment trial day 2 has essentially come to an end. Here's Mike Lee on the floor of the Senate as the impeachment trial comes to an end on day 2.
Mr. President,
Majority Leaders.
Pursuant to Impeachment Rule 16, I make a motion. Statements were attributed to me moments ago by the House Impeachment Managers. Statements relating to the content of conversations between a phone call involving President Trump and Senator Tubberville were not made by me. They're not accurate, and they're contrary to fact. I move, pursuant to Rule 16, that they be stricken from the record.
Pursuant to the Senate resolution.
This went on for several minutes. Here's what Senator Mike Lee of Utah is talking about. Mike Lee gave an interview to the Deseret News, which here in Salt Lake City, by the way, is one of the preeminent newspapers. And Mike Lee confirmed a story that his aide, his spokesperson, had disseminated or spread to the media. That while the insurrection was in its early stages, meaning while the protesters had breached the front door of the Capitol, Mike Lee is in the Senate chamber and they are going over certifying the vote of the Electoral College. And Mike Lee's phone rings. And he sees it's from the White House. He had been waiting for a call from a staffer at the White House, which he assumed that was. He answered, he said, hello. And on the other end, to his surprise, it was President Trump who said, hey, Tommy, it's President Trump. And Mike Lee was like, oh, no, President, Mr. Trump, this is Senator Mike Lee. And basically says, okay, are you looking for Tommy Tubberville? And he says, okay, well, Tommy Tubberville's right over here. Let me hand him my phone. Mike Lee walks over to Tommy Tubberville and says, hey, and this is his words to the Deseret News. And I will even go as far as to read them verbatim. Lee told the Deseret News he realized Trump was trying to call Senator Tommy Tubberville, the freshman from Alabama and former Auburn University football coach. Lee walked his phone over to Tubberville, who was talking to some colleagues, and said, hey, Tommy, I hate to interrupt you, but the president wants to speak with you, Lee said to the Deseret News. Senator Mike Lee told the Deseret News, I got a call from the president. He thought I was Tommy Tubberville. I walked my phone over to Tommy Tubberville, and he talked to the president while I stood nearby. Okay, why did you stand nearby? Were you eavesdropping? No, it turns out we all knew that the insurrection was happening and people were coming into the Senate chamber or about to be, so we were being evacuated. And so Mike Lee again said to the Deseret News, quote, as police were getting anxious for senators to leave the chamber, Lee walked to retrieve his phone. According to Lee, he said to Tommy Tubberville, quote, I don't want to interrupt your call with the president, but we're being evacuated and I need my phone. To which Tubberville told the president, okay, Mr. President, I gotta go. And Lee told the Deseret News, I didn't want to lose my phone. It was chaos. And I didn't want to be without my cell phone, so I stood nearby.
Which is logical.
Which is absolutely logical. Why is this controversial? Oh, because this account in the Deseret News, who interviewed Mike Lee and quoted him directly, was read into the record by the impeachment managers who were trying to prove the case that Donald Trump, during the insurrection, while the rioters were breaking in, trying to find Mike Pence, and they had made threats to kill Mike Pence and Nancy Pelosi. They had made threats to put a bullet in Pelosi's head.
Yeah.
And they said they wanted to hang Mike Pence. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump, while all that was going on, was calling Republican senators, trying to get them to delay the vote so that they could try and not, find evidence to not certify the Electoral College result. Mm-hmm. So there's a riot. Let me get this right. There's a riot going on. You have given this speech that turned all these people into insurrectionists. They're breaking into the Capitol, which you are aware of because you are watching it obsessively on TV. According to your own staff, you were giddy, wondering why everyone around you wasn't excited about people rioting and breaking into the Capitol. Mm-hmm. You and Rudy Giuliani were on the phone trying to find Republican senators to stop the certification of the Electoral College result.
Right.
Mike Lee, conversely, freaked out in his testimony yesterday because he didn't want to be the source of the information that proved Donald Trump was on the phone during the insurrection trying to lobby Republican senators not to certify the Electoral College vote. Mm-hmm. Only problem is he'd given an interview on the record and to the Deseret News where he told this story, and his director of communications also told multiple people this is what happened.
So then, again, he said this yesterday to put it back into context.
Mr. President,
Majority Leader,
pursuant to Impeachment Rule 16, I make a motion. Statements were attributed to me moments ago by the House Impeachment Managers. Statements relating to the content of conversations between a phone call involving President Trump and Senator Tubberville were not made by me. They're not accurate, and they're contrary to fact. I move pursuant to Rule 16 that they be stricken from the record.
pursuant to
Like, what are you talking about? This is what I don't understand. And then there's this mess on Fox News. Mike Lee's had a rough week. Then there's this situation on Fox News. Mike Lee, who is a staunchly conservative Republican, who only gives interviews to Fox News, goes on Fox, and they ask him about the similarities between the words of Donald Trump on the morning of January 6th, that many believe started this insurrection, which, by the way, I don't think it started the insurrection. I think it inflamed it. And some words of Democrats. Mm-hmm. Here's what Mike Lee said.
Yeah, look, it's not different. These are outgrowths of the same natural impulse that exist from time to time among anyone in this business and in many other businesses. Look, everyone makes mistakes. Everyone's entitled to a mulligan once in a while. And I would expect that each of those individuals would take a mulligan on each of those statements, because in each instance, they're making it deeply personal. They're ceasing to make it about policy. And instead, they're talking about getting up in people's faces and making individuals feel perfectly uncomfortable. And that's not helpful. I think the best way to handle this is to talk about issues rather than individual personalities.
That comment is just so poorly thought out, like didn't think it out. No, they don't deserve mulligans.
Yeah.
What Donald Trump said on January 6th is abhorrent. It is terrible. Mm-hmm. It inflamed an already tuned up audience.
Right.
What Cory Booker said, what Maxine Waters said, what all of these Democrats said is terrible. Like Cory Booker said, get in the face of your congresspeople. No, Cory, don't get in the face of your congresspeople. No, Mr. President, don't go down and fight like hell at the Capitol. But Mike Lee's like, they deserve mulligans. Like, I don't know what was going through your head when you said, oh, they deserve mulligans. They don't deserve mulligans.
Yeah.
This is life and death stuff. This is the problem with politics right now. And I think people don't get this. Your words have consequences. They matter. Your congressmen, your senators, your president. Your words have consequences. And until we grasp that fact, until we embrace that, guys like Mike Lee are going to stand up on Fox News and say they deserve mulligans when they really don't. None of them do.
Yep.
And I struggle with it. And I don't understand why people support that thought and that theology. That guys like Donald Trump and Cory Booker deserve, that they deserve mulligans. No, they don't. They don't.
Yeah, I think if you're inciting violence, you don't deserve mulligans. I think frankly, what I really think is that when you're an elected official, when you've taken office, when the people have chosen you, you have a responsibility to make sure that what you say, if you open your mouth and you say things, you better mean them and you better not make a mistake. And I get that we're all humans and that's cool and everything, but it kind of is a little different. The expectations go to another level when we're talking life and death and we're talking about killing people and we're talking about, rioting the Capitol and stuff. It goes to another level. But generally speaking, elected officials have a higher responsibility to not say stupid things and then try to spin them, which happens all the time. And it amazes me that yet we still have people who make a mistake, they say something that they regret saying, and then they just don't own it. They want to spin it and kind of turn it into something because they think that that's going to cost them votes or something.
Yeah,
and it's crazy.
I am amazed by this. And Barry, bro, relax. Barry's upset. He wants to know why we're not reading comments. Some days, look, man, the show is only about an hour and 20 minutes.
Yeah, we got to get stuff in here, man.
And some days, we just get after it. Mm-hmm. So Barry says, by the way, that Mike Lee is an upstanding member of the Republican Party who is the future.
Those statements are not true, and I ask that you strike them.
Are you serious right now? Mike Lee, okay, no, Barry, stop. I will not be voting for Mike Lee. I won't be voting for Mike Lee, sorry. The great state of Utah, we deserve better than Mike Lee.
Agreed.
We do. We deserve somebody that's got some actual balls, that will actually stand up for what we need, when we need it, how we need it.
Yes.
Not just, some ridiculousness where, we all get to do whatever it is and we're just playing partisan politics. Enough with partisan politics. This is real life shit going on and we need somebody with some backbone.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it comes down to you subscribing to us on YouTube. Just search The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube. Just put The Monty Show into Google. It all comes up. We're masters of the SEO game. Just search The Monty Show, Monty, The Monty Show on YouTube, on podcast, on Google, on social media. You name it, we're there. Until tomorrow, say, no more years, Mike Lee. I don't know.
No more years, Mike Lee.